As she's covering the Republican National Convention for us in Milwaukee this week, KCRA 3's Edie Lambert has been spending a lot of time with the California delegation.
Yeah, and earlier this week, she approached a San Diego delegate to ask him about his unusual suit, and it led to a remarkable story. Here is Edie Lambert with that story.
You know, you never really know what you're going to hear from people when you start an interview. And yesterday, a California delegate really surprised me with his story. It turned out that he had been at that Pennsylvania rally on Saturday. He was in the front row and witnessed the assassination attempt. And then he was here on Monday, the first day that former President Trump walked into Fiserv Forum. And when the former president walked out, he actually remembered this guy and stopped and talked to him about that day. Now, when you see the man's suit, you may understand why a candidate might have recognized him.
So I was able to get up to the rope line before he left. And as he came down, he saw me and came over to shake my hand. He looked me right in the eye. And he said, "That was a hell of a day, wasn't it?" And I said, "Yes, it was, sir." So it's just pretty amazing that he remembers details like that. Obviously, I wasn't ready. Obviously, I wasn't ready for that question, but he's a pretty amazing man. He's got a connection with the American people. He loves our country, and we recognize that, and that's why we care about him so much.
So this was last night at Fiserv that
Correct.
He noticed you and he knew your suit. He remembered you.
Right.
Well, I obviously have to ask, from being right in the front on Saturday, what was just talk me through what happened.
Well, as the president he was talking about a slide that was on the Jumbotron. I was looking at the Jumbotron. I heard the first round of shots. I looked to my left. I thought, this is a prank. This is a bad joke. Thought I'd see something in the audience. I did not. And when I looked back to the podium, I could see the president was being covered by the Secret Service agents. So then another round of shots rang out, and I realized that this is a real thing. And from that point, I was just really more concerned about him, trying to, I was close enough, I was 10 yards away, so I could hear the Secret Service is what they're talking about. I was encouraged that they weren't calling for anything medical, and then they said, let's get ready to move him, and they did a countdown, and I was like, man, are they going to be carrying him out? And then I saw him stand up. I could see the blood on his ear, just from the top, so it looked like just a cut, and I was encouraged by that. But then I saw his face, and I saw the energy, and I saw the defiance in his gaze, and at the same time, I knew he was just trying to let everybody know that he was okay. That was just what he wanted us to know before he left the stage. I think if the Secret Service had taken him off in a hurry, we would have had 2 or 3 hours of just everybody wondering what happened. But he let us know in that moment that he was all right and he was going to keep fighting.
I think it would change someone to witness something like that and to go through what you witnessed. A couple days later now, 3 days later, how are you doing?
It's been really good to be at the convention here, to be able to talk with so many people about it. I don't think I'm at 100%, but I'm getting there. Yeah, and it's hard not to get emotional about it. I think it's such an incredibly important issue, and like I said, so many Americans care so much about President Trump, and yeah, I'm getting back to 100%.
I also asked Blake if he would attend a political rally again, and he told me that not only would he attend one, he would stand in the front row again. He said he doesn't want to live his life in fear. In Milwaukee, Edie Lambert, back to you.